Andes. I don't think I said good morning to you.
At this time, I'd like to call the Board of Education meeting to order. I will ask our board members to identify themselves for the record as I call your name. Todd Ferrante, present. Kate Addis.
Aye.
Here.
Here.
Yeah, it's fine. John Andes.
Present.
William Buchanan.
Present.
William Gordy.
Here.
And Donald Smack.
Here.
Let the record show that Mrs. McComas is absent. Can I have a motion to approve today's board agenda and a second?
John Andy, so moved. Bill Gordy, second.
Okay. I have a motion by Dr. Andes and a second by Mr. Gordy. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion passes. Let the record show the vote was unanimous. Now I need a motion to enter into closed session for the reasons listed in the closed session agenda under General Provisions, Article 3-305 of the Annotated Code. Motion to enter in closed session to approve closed session minutes from the previous month. Section 3-305B to discuss the employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees or officials over whom it has jurisdiction, or any other personnel in this matter. Section 3-305B to consult with legal counsel, and Section 3-305B9 to conduct collective bargaining negotiations or to consider matters that relate to negotiations. Can I have a motion to enter into closed session?
So moved. Bill Buchanan.
I have a motion by Mr. Buchanan. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Ms. Addis. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we are now in closed session. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Todd Ferrante. I'd like to call this meeting to order. As we reconvene this open session, I want to remind everyone that we do have a quorum. We did have a closed session today pursuant to general provisions of Article 3-305B of the Annotated Code of Maryland to discuss personnel matters, to approve closed session minutes, and to consult with legal counsel and discuss matters related to negotiations. I'd like to welcome Pastor Stephanie Clayville, of the St. Mary Episcopal Church from Pocomoke, and she'll lead us in the invocation today. Please remain standing. We will do the Pledge of Allegiance immediately following. Thank you.
Is she here?
I don't see
Is
Stephanie.
Pastor Clayville here?
I don't see Stephanie Clay.
Okay.
No, I don't see her.
We don't see our,
I do not see her, so I'll ask Mr. Taylor to lead us in the invocation.
okay, before we go to the invocation today, I'm going to ask, this is a hard day for us. This past Friday, we lost a kindergarten student at Shaw Elementary School. I ask that you keep her family in your thoughts and prayers as they deal with this. I can't imagine what they're going through. So this time, I will ask that we pause for a moment of silence, and then I will do the invocation. Thank you. Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come together today to do the business of our school system. Lord, we ask a special prayer on the Draheim family as they're dealing with the loss of a child. We know that that peace will come from you, and we ask that you surround them with that peace right now. Lord, as we go about our school business today, we ask that you give wisdom to this board, give guidance to this board, allow them to make good decisions based on what's good for our kids, what's good for our employees, and what's good for our community. We thank you for this Board of Education. We thank you for our school leaders. We thank you for all those who teach our young people each and every day. Now, Lord, again, we thank you for this day that you've allowed us to live in. We ask that you continue to bless each one of us in this room and our families, and give us traveling mercies as we travel to and from our destinations. We ask this in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for the invocation, Mr. Taylor, and our prayers. This is a time in the meeting, it's one of Mr. Taylor's favorite, where I actually get to turn the gavel over to him. So, Mr. Taylor, there you go.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrante. It truly is the only time that I'm in charge in this meeting. But today, and every January, the Board of Education elects their officers for the upcoming year. And so today, we will be electing a president and vice president to the Board of Education. So at this time, I'm asking for any nominations from the board for the office of president of the Board of Education for the upcoming school year.
I'd like to nominate Todd Ferrante.
Okay, we have a nomination of Todd Ferrante. Is there any other nominations? I need a motion to close the nominations.
Nomination closed.
Donnie Smack, motion to close nominations. Do I have a second?
Second, Bill Gordy.
Second, Bill Gordy. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I now would like,
I abstain.
abstain? Okay, thank you. I'd like to have we have a nomination for Todd Ferrante. Do I have a second? For Todd,
John Andy second the nomination of Mr. Ferrante to be the president of the Board of Education, Worcester County, for calendar year 23.
we have a second for that? Or is that you're the second or you're the nomination?
I'm the second. I
Okay,
believe.
okay, all right. Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
And we have one abstention. Okay, the motion carries. I'll hand the gavel over back to Mr. Ferrante to move forward to the vice presidency.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor, and thank to all of you who voted for me to be your board president this year. I look forward to working with each and every one of you, and I will now, at this time, open the floor for nomination for vice president.
Mr. President, I would like to nominate Mr. Bill Buchanan as vice president for this coming year.
Okay, Mr. Gordy has nominated Mr. Bill Buchanan for vice president for the up-and-coming 2023. Do I have any other nominations? Seeing none, I'll close the nominations for vice president. Now, can I have a motion for a motion and a second to close for vice president?
Motion second.
Okay, we have a second. We've closed the nominations. Now, I need a motion to approve Mr. Buchanan for vice president. For
Move Bill Gordy.
Bill Gordy, and do I have a second?
Second, Donald Smack.
Second, Donald Smack. All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
And an abstained by Mrs. Addis. Okay, move forward. Congratulations,
First of
Mr.
all,
Buchanan. Okay. Now, can I have a motion to approve the open session board minutes meeting from December 20th, 2022?
Donald Smack, make a motion.
Mr. Smack made a motion. Do I have a second?
Bill Gordy, second.
Mr. Gordy, second. All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
And Mrs. Addis abstained. Okay. Moving forward, the superintendent's report. Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrante. First, let me, Superintendent, congratulate Mr. Ferrante and Mr. Buchanan
Thank you.
on your appointments to your new office. First, I'd like to say to the audience and everyone here, Happy New Year to all of you. I hope everyone had a restful winter break, and those that celebrated Christmas, a very Merry Christmas, and I hope you had time to spend it with your family and friends. We are currently in full swing with the FY 2024 budget preparations. The leadership team and I have been holding meetings with school leaders at all 14 schools for their input and to further discuss budget priorities for the next school year. We take this important feedback as well as the information received from our school SIACs and parent groups to create a truly collaborative budget that addresses the educational needs of our students. Speaking of collaboration, if any of you follow us on social media, you will have noticed that we have crossed the county meeting with all of our faculties and staff to share the state of our school's address. Later this winter, we will take this message out to our community by visiting our SIACs and meeting with them in each region of our county. These meetings are incredibly productive for me as a leader, as they afford me the opportunity to share where we currently are and where we need to go as far as the school system, all the while gaining valuable insight from our different stakeholder groups. Now, I know many of you in the audience are here to celebrate our many students being recognized this month, and we'll do that in just a few minutes. But of course, I offer my congratulations to each of those students. But as I have done traditionally in January, I'd like to use this time to honor a remarkable group of educators. As you know, Ms. Carrie Steers, our Coordinator of Public Relations, helms our Teacher of the Year program, and I am very excited to announce to you all here and those watching on our live stream the names of all 14 of this year's school-level Teachers of the Year, and I would like to congratulate each of them, beginning with Chris Adkins from Snow Hill High School, Michelle Bradley from Pocomoke High School, Dawn Davis, Snow Hill Elementary School, Carly Dixon, Pocomoke Elementary School, Sylvia Gallo, Worcester Technical High School, Michaela Hatley, Buckingham Elementary School, Wendy McCrady's, Ocean City Elementary School, Kristen Morris, Cedar Chapel Special School, Jamie Ridgely, Stephen Decatur Middle School, Christina Savarola, Snow Hill Middle School, Elizabeth Singer, Shaw Elementary School, Brittany Tracy, Stephen Decatur High School, David Wells, Berlin Intermediate School, and Stephen Zabeko, Pocomoke Middle School. These teachers are amazing examples of the high-quality teaching occurring in our classrooms across this county. I hope that the next time you enter one of those schools, you'll join me in congratulating each of these educators. Thank you, and back to you, Mr. Ferrante.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Appreciate it. I'd like to welcome back our student representatives, our 22, 23 student representatives. I hope you had a nice break for a holiday, and we welcome you back. And they're here to provide us with their monthly updates. I believe this month we are starting with Arvir from Stephen Decatur High School.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrante. I'm going to be doing 2 board reports, one from Stephen Decatur and one from Worcester Tech.
Perfect.
I'm going to start with Stephen Decatur's. The new year is certain to bring great things to Stephen Decatur High School. As the first semester comes to a close, we would like to thank our Student Government Association for sponsoring our holiday door decorating contest. Nearly every door in our entire building was decorated with festive themes and good tidings. It was an awesome way to conclude 2022. We also want to recognize our band and choral programs for their wonderful winter concerts at the end of December. However, on a sad note, the Stephen Decatur High School community has suffered a great loss recently after the passing of our homecoming king, Josh Alton, and our homecoming little princess, Lakeland Draheim, daughter of SDHS math teacher, Lance Draheim. We would like to express our heartfelt appreciation to our surrounding community for all of their support throughout their battles with cancer. Again, thank you to everyone for your support. Moving on, congratulations are in order for several of our students. Lily Canfield, John Cooper, Corey Cooper, and Aiden Gordon were the first in school history to pass the Fundamental Marketing Concepts exam sponsored by the ASK Business Institute, earning them the Certificate of Advanced Learning in Marketing. Next, we'd like to wish the best of luck to William Cosma, who will be serving as the Worcester County Page during the opening of the Maryland General Assembly in a few weeks. Finally, we'd like to congratulate the many seniors who have already accepted college offers and/or who have made their college and career plans following graduation this May. Meanwhile, the new year is starting off super busy. During the month of January, we have administered hundreds of MISA and MCAP exams, all while teachers are preparing to administer final exams to close out the semester. The winter session of the After School Academy is off and running with tutorial programs offered in all major subjects and several enrichment programs. Our winter athletes are busy with several of our teams now leading the Bayside South, and many of our tech-savvy students have compiled approximately 150 entries for the annual Worcester County Public Schools Media Expo. Last but not least, we would like to congratulate Ms. Brittany Tracy on being named this year's Stephen Decatur High School Teacher of the Year. Ms. Tracy has been teaching in Worcester County for 13 years, several of which have been as an English teacher at Stephen Decatur High School. In addition to her teaching achievement, Ms. Tracy serves on the mentoring committee as a member of our STAR committee, co-advisor of the Leo Club, and she's the school representative for the Leeds Teacher Program. We know she'll represent Stephen Decatur High School well in the Teacher of the Year program. Thank you and Happy New Year to everyone. Now I'll move on to Worcester Technical High School's report. Students and staff returned from winter break refreshed and re-energized to finish out the first semester strong. Exams occur next week, and we know that the Worcester Tech students are well prepared. As we began the PBIS program at Tech, we held a cake raffle among the staff and were able to raise over $1,100. This money will help us fund many of the incentives and things we want to do with PBIS this year. On January 11th, we held our annual STEM night. Rising ninth grade students and their parents were able to come in the building and meet teachers and see classrooms and hear about the different STEM course offerings at Worcester Tech. We had a standing room only crowd in the cafeteria. On February 9th, we will hold our annual Trades and Human Services Nights, where once again, rising ninth graders and parents can learn all about our trades offerings. On Saturday, February 11th, we will be holding the Skills USA local competition at Worcester Tech. Winners locally will advance to the state competition in March. Congratulations to Ms. Sylvia Gallo, who was named Teacher of the Year for Worcester Tech. Ms. Gallo represents everything from geometry to GIS to engineering. We are proud to have her represent the teachers of Worcester Tech. Now on to Jay Nas from Snow Hill High School.
Thank you. Happy School Board Appreciation Month to each of you. Thank you for your dedication and support of Worcester County Public Schools. 2023 has gotten off to a great start. Our winter sports are doing well in their competitions. Many students are in the midst of state testing. Everyone is working hard and we are anticipating great results. Congratulations to our legal intern team for winning their first verdict of the season against Bennett last week. Congratulations to our JRTC team who received third place out of 6 schools in the color guard competition. Join us for our FAST event on February 1st at 4:30 p.m. This is the kickoff to the second semester with food and fun. The school counseling office continues to work with seniors on their future plans including military, career, and college intentions. Additionally, we are gearing up for the 23-24 scheduling next month with all underclassmen and rising ninth graders. On Saturday, February 4th, SJ has planned an H2O Globe themed night from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. for the celebration of Semester 1. There will also be a pet rally on Friday, February 3rd during the 5th period, full of fun games to kick off second semester. On February 15th, the Wild Bus will host Dip and Paint. In honor of Black History Month, participants will create paintings to honor the history and culture of African Americans. We would like to congratulate Mr. Christopher Atkins on being selected as our 2023 Teacher of the Year. Mr. Atkins is a physical education teacher and athletic director. Mr. Atkins also leads our school safety school improvement team. Finally, the entire Snow Hill School and community extend our heartfelt sympathy for the Draheim family and friends in the passing of Lakeland Draheim. In honor of Lakeland, staff and students will be wearing pink this Thursday and will hold a school-wide moment of silence for this Princess Warrior. Thank you, and now to McKenna Selby from Pocono High School.
Thank you, Jay. We are excited to announce that Mrs. Michelle Bradley is Pocono High School's Teacher of the Year. Mrs. Bradley, a Stephen Decatur High graduate, a Snow Hill High intern, and a Pocono High School teacher, is all in when it comes to her students in our school. She is a Mathematics Department Chair, AP Calculus, AP Stats, and Algebra 1 teacher. Mrs. Bradley also serves as an instructional coach, lead co-founder and advisor, a mentor for interns, instructional leadership team member, PBIS member, SIP leader, and a champion for all students. Mrs. Bradley is a life changer for so many students and staff. We want to give a shout out to our students, teachers, and testing coordinator for their effort during standardized testing this month. Students have been bringing their best each day, completing MCAP and high school assessments diligently, carefully, and with pride. Last week, we enjoyed community trial time with families, students, and community partners. Over a dozen community partners came to our school to provide valuable resources and information to our families. A spaghetti dinner and teacher conference opportunities were also held and to provide our school community. This past Saturday, our principal, Ms. Jennifer Rain, was awarded with the Human and Civil Rights Award at the MESA Martin Luther King Jr. Celebration and Racial Social Justice Summit in Baltimore, Maryland. The Human and Civil Rights Award is awarded to educators who contribute significantly to the area of human and civil rights in the classroom or the overall school culture in Maryland Public Schools. Her work with Speak Up, a club that explores the rich, diverse history and culture of all students, ultimately elevating student voice, led to her nomination by seniors of the class of 2022. Finally, Pocono High School, Pocono Middle School, and Pocono Elementary School students and staff wish our wonderful Board of Education members a happy Board of Education Month. We are so grateful for the continued support of our Board of Education and executive team. And now back to Mr. Ferrante.
Thank you, McKenna. Thank you, Jay Naz, and thank you, Aravir. Thank you for all the updated information from your schools. We certainly appreciate what you do and appreciate you taking your time today to bring us those reports. Thank you. It is now time to recognize any audience members from the following organizations. Do we have anyone present from the WCTA? Good afternoon, Beth. Nice to see you. From the WCESPA? Worcester County Retired School Personnel. Yes.
State your name.
Hello.
State your name.
Hi, Ms. Gwen
Lehman.
Freeman.
State your name.
Ms. Lehman.
I know you, but I want everybody else to. If I don't know you, we're in trouble.
Gwen Lehman. Nice to see you. Thank you, Gwen. And representatives from various schools, SIACs, PTAs, anyone? Okay, thank you all for being with us today. So obviously, one of the most important things we get to do up here is to recognize the recognition of student athletes. And of course, we have fall sports. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. App.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrante. I'm going to pass it off to our athletic supervisor, Mr. Sam Slacum. We have quite a few recognitions today. We had a very good fall season that many of our student athletes are being honored today. So, Mr. Slacum.
Members of the board, it is my privilege to be here in front of you today as we recognize some of our exemplary achievements in the realm of athletics from the fall season. These student athletes not only excelled in the classroom, they have to maintain high academic standards in order to be able to remain eligible to participate in extracurricular athletics. But these students in particular, some of which, as you'll hear in a few moments from the athletic directors and coaches, really set a high standard this fall season, and we're very, very proud of them, and we're very fortunate to be able to recognize them today. So leading us off will be Mr. Dan DeBronze from Stephen Decatur High School.
Thank you, Mr. Slacum. Thank you for inviting us to the board meeting today. We had quite the fall season at Stephen Decatur High School. Just real quick before we start, our teams this fall had a winning percentage of 740. That means we won 74% of our games on the field. That's incredible. But even better than that, we had 348 total athletes out for fall sports. 264 of those qualified for Minds in Motion, which put us at 76% of our student athletes earned a GPA of 3.25 or higher. And that's what we're about. And with that being said, we're going to start off with our volleyball team and Coach Patrick.
Hello. Decatur Volleyball had a great season this year. We had 6 seniors leading our team. 2 of our seniors are here with us, Sydney Patrick and Cora Shaw. They were integral for our season. They were the leaders. They were the heart. They never stopped. And they were true representatives of the Decatur way, how we do business. So Ms. Sydney Patrick and Ms. Cora Shaw.
All right, next we're going to go with our field hockey team and Coach Stan Griffin.
Stephen Decatur Field Hockey had a great year on the field, amassing more wins than we've had combined in years past. Our Minds in Motion percentage, we had 97% of our athletes qualified for Minds in Motion as well, so they did the work on the field but also in the classroom. With us today, I have 2 of our all-conference selections. First, I have sophomore forward and first team all-Bayside, Ava Snellsire. And next, I have freshman midfielder, Bailey Griffin.
Okay, up next we have our women's soccer program led by Coach Veneer.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us. Our girls soccer program had a great year this year with a 10-3 record, which is our most wins since 2014. And these 4 girls that I'm going to recognize are a huge part of our accomplishments. Before we announce them, though, we wanted to say that we are extremely proud that all 25 members of our varsity all made the Minds in Motion list. So we're extremely proud of that as well. The first person I'd like to bring up is Morgan Sullivan. She's a junior, first team all-conference for the 2nd consecutive year. Mia Kemp is a senior, one of our captains. She's a 2-time first team all-conference player, and this year was 2nd team all-state, representing one of the top 50 players in the state. Thank you, Mia. Hannah Dang was a first team all-conference player and honorable mention all-state, and also one of our captains. Riley Wilson is a junior and was named first team all-conference. Thank you.
All right, up next, we have our men's soccer program led by Coach Greenwood.
Thank you very much, Mr. DeBronze. Board members, Mr. Taylor, thank you for having us today. Thank you for recognizing all of our athletes countywide. We had 3 gentlemen make first team all-conference. Ryan McLaughlin, who's not able to be with us today, but we do have Brogan Eastlack. Brogan scored 17 goals, and not only was a first team all-conference, but a 2nd team all-state member as well. And our next person, we go from the front of the field to the back of the field, Nick Hernandez. Nick was a first team all-conference goalkeeper. He made 100 saves this year, had 6 shutouts, and a fantastic asset for us. We'll finish. Thank you.
I also wanted to add Coach Greenwood was our Coach of the Year in the Bayside Conference.
So boys soccer team finished the season 13-2. We won the conference, went 11-1 in the conference, and we got it from hard work from all these gentlemen back here. And as far as being Coach of the Year, it's not my hard work, it's their hard work. They're the ones that make me look good. So I'm appreciative of all of them, all of our parents, and all our support we had. So thank you.
Yeah, there's tall people in the back.
Yeah, we're going to have to do a couple of
There's a lot of soccer. Look at your team. Yes, yes. That's the varsity and the JV.
I'm a person that it drives me nuts when I see guys that have like the long hair like that. So like I'm just like dying just looking at them. It's what I always I said I married a man who was in the military for a reason. They all had high tights.
I know this football.
All right, next we have our awesome golf team, which is led by our Bayside Conference Coach of the Year, Coach Dan Stearman.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's my honor to present your 2022 district and Bayside champion golf team. We started the year 9-1 in the regular season. We competed in the Bayside championship this year against Kent Island, our arch rival from the north. With a devastating 62-point win, we succeeded and beat Kent Island for the Bayside championship. We then went to the district championship where we won the district title, sending 5 golfers to the state tournament, where we had one individual, Sam Boger, finish 5th in the state against 109 golfers in the state of Maryland. So we had an overall exciting season. So let me introduce them. Junior Devlin Dean, Junior A.J. Kolb, Sophomore Luke Popoleski, and the 5 members of the first team Bayside South were all from Stephen Decatur this year. Freshman Johnny Malinowski, sophomore Clay McCabe, sophomore Sam Boger, our 2 co-captains, Junior Evan Oglesby, and the Bayside South Player of the Year, Junior Cole Kohut.
We have our cross-country coaches, Coach August and Coach Thomas. And we had a great season.
We were switching the mic. We were top 5 in all Bayside meets this year for both boys and girls cross country. We were the Bayside South champions, and we had 3 placers in the Bayside. First is junior, 4th place, Bayside placer Macy Warnicki. We had sophomore who got 6th in the Bayside and 5th in the region and state qualifier, Amber Marshall. And junior got 6th in the Bayside, Ethan Justice.
All right, and last but not least, our Stephen Decatur football team led by Coach Jake Coleman.
All right, do I announce each one? Brogan Eastlack, David Chandler, Gavin Salito, Sakari Baker, Xavion Manuel, Logan Bradshaw, Delonte Henry, Ethan Bradshaw, Bryson Coleman, Nathan Tapley, Caden Shockley, Tribe Wise, Nazir Tall, Riley Calloway, Omarion Manuel, Donovan Henry, David Lockwood, Trey Dorn, Evan Copeland, Jackson Chung, Dagan Risser, Sully Alker, Jameon Purnell, Anthony Burke, Jack Bradley, Cam Harris, Brant Skipper, Nate McDaniel, Evan Calloway, AJ Tremble, all right, Garrett Maloney, Reed Phillips, Ryan Plumley, Brody Lee, Mason Jackson Taylor, Misael Juarez, Nick Soraka, Josh Nadonley, Declan Haran, Brooks Walters, Jesse Pasella, Shane McDermott, Jorge Sosa, and James Watkins. Okay, along with them being semi-finalists, they were also South Bayside champions. Additionally, we'd like to step up and receive an award from Mr. Taylor. Would be Gavin Salido for first team All Bayside. Come on up, Gavin. Austin Tremble for first team All Bayside. Brogan Eastlack for first team All Bayside. David Lockwood for first team All Bayside. Omarion Manuel, first team All Bayside. Bryson Coleman, first team All Bayside. Bryson also received All-State Honorable Mention. And then one person who's not here because he's at Duke University right now, but I want to recognize him, is first team All Bayside, first team All-State, and the Bayside Co-Defensive Player of the Year for the second time he won that is Luke Murgott.
As well as in the classroom, the recognition, for all those student athletes is pretty incredible. Next in our program, we've got Mr. Derek Fuchs, the athletic director at Pocomoke High School.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having us, and congratulations to Stephen Cater before us and for Snow Hill, who's coming in behind us. I want to congratulate all those athletes. Fall season was wonderful for us as well. Throughout our fall season, in our Minds in Motion, I think we were somewhere close to, as a total of 86% of all athletes being Minds in Motion athletes. But I'm not standing up here today to steal any coach's thunder. Who I'm bring up first. Oh, there it goes. I'm going to bring up first is the coaches for our cross-country team, as Ms. Charlene Crease and Mr. Paul Becker.
This is Caden Scudder. It's our state finalist. One thing that Coach and I talked about Caden is we wish we had another year. His grit, his dedication is not only to his sport, but his teammates. That's one thing we pride at Pocomoke High School. He has that warrior spirit. We look for good things for him in the rest of his life. This is Caden Scudder. Very proud of him.
Next up is Mr. Chris Roberts and our soccer team from Pocomoke High School.
Thank you, Mr. Folks. I wanted to, before I recognize the team, first of all, bring Ethan Scott forward. So, Ethan, come up. Ethan, I wanted to congratulate Ethan on winning Bayside South Conference First Team Award. Ethan was one of our senior captains and was voted unanimously by his team for MVP award. So, great job, Ethan. All right, and next up, I want to present to you the Pocomoke Boys High School varsity soccer team. We were regional champions this year, finished with a 10-5 record, and over the course of the season, the biggest thing was the way we improved from the start to the finish, and the attitude of the team overall from the start to the finish changed, and we really showed warrior pride through and through, and won a lot of close games. And luckily we were able to really come on at the end of the season, get 2 big playoff victories, and before falling in the in the state quarterfinal. So congratulations, boys, on being regional champs.
Yeah, that's not to be downplayed. Making it to the state quarterfinals is an accomplishment. And now, drum roll, please. Next up is Coach Casey Hickman and her assistants and her wonderful, wonderful, without stealing the thunder, Pocomoke field hockey team.
Hi, everybody. First of all, I'd like to start by thanking Mr. Taylor, Dr. Wallace, Dr. Abb, and as well as countless others for their unwavering support during our 2022 field hockey season. We were able to achieve the goal we set out for ourselves from the first day of preseason and captured another state title as well as title of regional champions. Ending the season 15-1, we scored a total of 93 goals and only allowed 5. So without further ado, let me introduce you to your 2022 Field Hockey State Champions. First up, we have Miss Ella Esham. She was first team All Bayside South and also got honorable mention for all states. Next, we have Miss Dakota Trader, who was first team All Bayside South. Next is Miss Marley McDormand. She was first team All Bayside South. She was co-Bayside Player of the Year, and she also got All-State honorable mention. Then we have Miss Maddie Cornwell. She was first team All Bayside South. Okay.
Want to get that picture? Yeah. Before you introduce, ladies, what we're going to do, we're going to introduce, we'll come around, shake our hands. Right, we're going to line you up outside as well. So you'll go outside, wait for we finish the last Snow Hill High School awards, then we'll come out and take your picture. Okay?
All right, so I want to start with our wonderful assistant coaches. I could not have done it without them. I have Miss Gina Dean, Miss Amanda Krantz, Miss Peyton Becker, and then this is your team. We have Miss Skylar Freestad, Miss Maddie Castaneda, Miss Marcia Wright, Miss London Trader. She was our wonderful scorekeeper this year. Miss Hannah East, Miss Becky Adkins, Miss Savannah Bishop, Miss Kylie Cruz. Next up, our sophomores, we have Miss Haley Calger, Miss Maddie Esham, Miss Aubrey Jackson Bowen. Next, our juniors, Miss Janae Smith, Miss Aubrey Castaneda, Miss Ava Scorbach. And then my large graduating class here, I have Miss Kayla Boyles, Miss Kayla Rose, Miss McKenna Selby, Miss Abby East, Miss Anna High, Enriquez Castillo, and Moreno. My bad, I'm sorry, Anna High. Miss Janae Young, or Miss Jada Young, and Miss Carlea DeShio. She was our wonderful manager, and I couldn't have done it without them.
Let's give the 2022 State Field Hockey team another great round of applause. And this wonderful coach, Miss Casey Hickman.
Pretty amazing accomplishment from Pocomoke High School. Little old Pocomoke is in very, very elite status in the country, not just in the state of Maryland, but in the country with the number of state championships that they have won. So another round of applause for all of the Pocomoke High School student athletes. Now representing Snow Hill High School, Athletic Director Mr. Chris Adkins, who also happens to be Snow Hill High School's Teacher of the Year.
Thank you, Mr. Schlegel. So first, I want to thank the board, Mr. Taylor, Dr. Rapp, Dr. Wallace, Mr. Gordy, saw him out at some games this year. Thank you guys all for supporting us. Of course, Mr. Slacum, we couldn't do without him. So first, I'm going to introduce the women's volleyball team, regional champs. I'm going to introduce the Bayside South Coach of the Year. That would be Mr. Keith Donaway.
Thank you so much. I would like to start by recognizing the first team All Bayside members that are on our team, and that would be Alexa Arnold and Catalina Lazader. You can go ahead forward. Catalina was our setter and led the entire Bayside with number of assists for setting, and Alexa Arnold was our outside hitter and had the most kills, digs, and aces for the season, and they both deserve all of the recognition. I would like to introduce the rest of the team, and I'll go in order. Senior Natalie Sterling, come on forward. Oh, we'll get a picture.
We need to take your award winner pictures. Hold on before you introduce your team. You two ladies right here, Keith, or the coaches, if you'll come up. Chris. Dr. Purvis. Stay still.
Senior Natalie Sterling, Abigail Gaskell, Senior Mackenzie Parsons, Sadie Todd, Sammy Jo Rogers, Senior Amaya Brunson, Ashlyn Kraft, Senior Abigail Williamson, Mackenzie Clark. I would also like to recognize my other coaches, Coach Cassie Blakelock and Tracy Todd. Just briefly about the season, this was one of the best records that we've had in a long time. As a matter of fact, if you look on our banner in the Snow Hill gym, the last time Snow Hill got a regional championship was over 30 years ago. So they did a fantastic job. I'm so proud of each of them. And I would like to thank all of my players, all the parents, athletic directors, the admin, and the Board of Ed for all the support that you have given all of the athletes and students here in Worcester County. Thank you so much.
Don't worry, I'll get right out of your way. Try and scooch in as much as you can. All right. On three. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. And hold. Just stand here.
And now to introduce the most decorated male cross-country runner in our school's history would be Coach Katana Lambertson.
Just talk about him now. Just introduce. Come on forward, Seth. This year I had the great pleasure of taking over as the head coach of the Snow Hill High School cross-country team along with Kevin Demien. The opportunity brought me to Seth, who is an outstanding runner, a great teammate, and a high-achieving student. Seth is a kid that's easy to coach because he knows what he wants and he's willing to work for it. That mentality served him well this year as he dominated every regular season meet that we went to, along with taking the top spot over and over again, and the 2 invitationals that we went to, he placed in the top 10, facing hundreds of other runners. He is this year's individual regional champ, running the 3-mile race in 16 minutes and 24 seconds, which allowed his entire team to help place second and qualify for states as a whole. He went on to place 5th at the state meet and has also broken the Snow Hill High School's record, excuse me, for the boys' fastest 5K time. Congratulations, Seth, and it was a pleasure to coach you this year.
One more round of applause for the Snow Hill High School student athletes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 5-minute break so that we can get the board to go out and get a picture with our 2 teams at the large outside. 5
Okay, and now in order to resume the meeting, we have a few proclamations today, and the first one is going to be Board Appreciation Month. Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrante. It's an honor for me to give this proclamation to our board. As I've said many times, our school board here in Worcester County does a phenomenal job and continues to do a phenomenal job. I said this morning, I can't believe that I'm saying this, but after 39 years, I've been able to work with and for a number of boards here in Worcester County, and it has just been a tremendous place to work and have the leadership of our boards over those years. So I'd like to present this proclamation today to our board in honor of School Board Recognition Month, which is in January. It says, whereas the mission of the public schools is to meet the diverse educational needs of all children and to empower them to become confident, productive contributors to a democratic society and ever-changing world. And whereas local school board members are committed to children and believe that all children can be successful learners and that the best education is tailored to the individual needs of each child. And whereas local school board members work closely with parents, educational professionals, and other community members to create the educational vision we want for our students. And whereas local school board members are responsible for ensuring the structure that provides a solid foundation for our school system. And whereas local school board members are strong advocates for public education and are responsible for communicating the needs of the school district to the public and the public's expectations to the district. Now, therefore, I hereby declare my appreciation to the members of the Worcester County Board and proclaim the month of January 2023 to be School Board Recognition Month. I urge all citizens to join me in recognizing the dedication and hard work of local school board members in preparing today's students for tomorrow's world. In official recognition whereof, I hereby affix my signature this 17th day of January 2023, signed by Lewis H. Taylor, Superintendent of Schools. Thank you, Board, for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. You want a picture?
It's okay.
Here, Karen.
It's okay.
I'm just planning on it. Thank you.
So I'm here to recognize National Counselors Week, February 6th to the 10th. And counselors play an extremely important role in our school, very important to the health and welfare of our kids. And we have with us today Lauren Williams, who is, we want you to come forward, and I'm going to read the proclamation. Whereas school counselors are employed in public and private schools to help students reach their full potential, and whereas school counselors are actively committed to helping students explore their abilities, strengths, interests, and talents, as these traits relate to career awareness and development, and whereas school counselors help parents focus on ways to further the educational, personal, and social growth of their children, whereas school counselors work with teachers and other educators to help students explore their potential and set realistic goals for themselves. And whereas school counselors seek to identify and utilize community resources that can enhance and complement comprehensive school counseling programs and help students become productive members of society. And whereas comprehensive developmental school counseling programs are considered an integral part of the educational process that enables all students to achieve success in school. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Worcester County Board of Education to recognize National School Counselors Week during the week of February 6th through the 10th, 2023. Signed by our former President, Elena J. McComas, and our Superintendent of Schools, Lewis H. Taylor. Lauren, come on up. Thank you. Okay, now we come to the point of the meeting of individual and delegation comments. All individuals who've signed up to address the Worcester County Board of Education may do so for 2 minutes regarding information, accommodations, concerns that may need future board attention are specific to an individual will not be discussed in open session and should be directed to appropriate district personnel for investigation. When you're called to address the board, please state your name and address for the record, please. And at first, I have Joan Roach. Would you come on up? Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Joan Roach. I live at 402 14th Street in Ocean City. It's a new year, and the state implementation plan for the blueprint for Maryland's future has been released, and it is time for local school systems to roll up their sleeves and create their local plans. Strong Schools Worcester County stands ready to support this exciting endeavor. The blueprint is designed to transform public education in Maryland into a world-class education system that is both excellent and fair. The Kerwin report says, quote, "Excellence is defined as globally competitive student performance. Equity means ensuring every student, no matter their family income, race, ethnicity, or physical, intellectual, and emotional challenges, has the resources to be successful. To achieve this, the blueprint will increase education funding each year for 10 years, accelerate student outcomes, and improve the quality of education for all children in Maryland, including the historically underserved." The Commission's findings included Maryland students performing at or below the median of the National Assessment of Educational Progress, and these scores have been falling over the past decade. That Maryland has a severe teacher shortage and retention problems. Only 40% of Maryland's public high school graduates meet the state college ready and career and readiness standards. Maryland has an unacceptably large achievement gap based on race and income. And Maryland is a regressive state in terms of school funding, depriving the very populations in greatest need the resources required for success. As the population becomes even more diverse and there is an ever-growing need for well-trained, highly educated workforce, Maryland needs to address these concerns. To create a world-class school system, we need new funds that are invested in proven strategies. The Commission identified 5 major policy areas: early childhood, teacher development and diversity, rigorous college and career pathways, equitable funding to ensure that all students are successful, and effective governance and accountability. These are the 5 pillars of the blueprint that the school administration is hard at work creating, the implementation plans for each of these. Taken together, these actions will dramatically improve the quality of Maryland's education system. We are glad that the administration and board support the development of our local plan, and we are excited to stand in support of this effort.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up is Deborah Fisher Reynolds. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good
It was
afternoon.
exciting to see all the student athletes that are also high in academic standards too. What a great, great co-program. My name is Deborah Fisher Reynolds. I live at 148 Ocean Parkway in Ocean Pines. I don't have a student in the school. I'm a retired teacher. I'm a retired kindergarten teacher. Although we live in divisive and controversial times, we all want what is best for students. Instead of banning books, we need the freedom to read and explore. This school district has great policies and procedures that analyze, evaluate, and protect our books and curriculum materials. Solutions, curriculum, kindness, including all different kinds of children, these enrich us all. We should all support books that are highly diverse, that highlight diversity, inclusion, and our differences. We love books that teach students, you are unique, you are important, you are special. These books teach social, emotional, diversity, getting along with others, and kindness, while supporting mental health in such positive ways. Our schools and libraries need to be safe spaces. When censorship designed to restrict access to information is put in place in our school, we all lose. We can trust individuals to make their own decisions about what they read. My book, Elmer, this book is about, instead of trying to be just like everyone else, you should be yourself. Elmer tried to be like everyone else until he learned it's just best to be yourself. We value books and honor them, And I've said it before here, and I'll say it again. A huge, huge thank you to the Worcester County teachers and staff who give their all to better our students. When they better our students, they better our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I believe that's all the speakers we have today. Thank you. Moving forward to curriculum and instructional report, Ms. Shorts.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Ferrante. We have one curriculum instruction report today, and it is our local ESSA Consolidated Strategic Plan. And I know this sounds riveting. Every year, every year, it is a requirement that we present our master plan, as it used to be called. This year, and for the past few years, it's been called our ESSA Consolidated Plan. This year, it is abridged. It is a mini plan, because from next year on, it'll be our blueprint plan. So we are very busy working on our blueprint plan, which is due March 15th. The first piece of it is due, and these two gentlemen, although they did work on this abridged ESSA Consolidated Plan, are working with us on our blueprint plans, and we will keep you up to date with those. But they are just going to give you some highlights on what we turned in December to the state around what we're doing. This is like our school improvement plan for the district. So I have Dr. Hamill and Dr. Cook here, who are two brilliant gentlemen. If you don't know that about these two fellas, you'll find that out
Someone should
shortly.
tell my wife.
Well, I absolutely will, because it's absolutely true. So they're going to just split up this presentation and tell you a little bit about what we sent to the state about what we're up to. So on to Tom first.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So as Ms. Short was saying, this is a transition year for us, where the LEAs are having to create both blueprint plans and also by federal law are required to submit these master plans as well. MSDE, in a stroke of wisdom, decided that that is a lot to ask LEAs to do, and so they created this consolidated form of what is the master plan, the ESSA Consolidated Master Plan, and significantly pared down a lot of the requirements that the plan had as opposed to prior years. So this year, the requirements for the consolidated plan included an executive summary, a needs assessment, evidence of impact, an identification of focus areas and goals, some description of our title programs, and then specifically a description of the goals of the gifted and talented program, as well as the description of the new teacher induction programs. The plan authors included Dr. Michael Brown, Dr. Cook, Mrs. Kirsten Dana Savage, Mrs. Cassidy Hamborski, myself, Mrs. Tamara Mills, and Dr. Brian Phillips. And the plan was submitted to MSDE for review on December 15th. So the plan requires the establishment of at least 2 focused areas or goals, one in ELA and one in mathematics. However, based upon the way that we've structured our school improvement process, which focuses on not only ELA, not only mathematics, but also safety, we just elected to include a 3rd area of focus and goal focused on safety for this plan.
So our English language arts goals, as you can read it on the screen, by the end of 22 and 23, our systematic school improvement plan will result in the literacy team action plan specific to each school that will result in 100% of our students. We're going to place in the Tier 2 and Tier 3 category. We'll take the iReady diagnostic and essentially get their stretch goal, which is essentially their growth for the year. So as we're going to test them in the fall, then throughout the year through targeted intervention and differentiated instruction, they'll meet that goal as we move into our spring assessments. In our mathematics areas, we have a very similar goal, but we looked that we want to get an overall increase by 3 percentage points utilizing iReady, but we want that not just one group, we want that for all groups, so we're going to be breaking that down by our subgroups and disaggregated as race, ethnicity, our farm status, as well as special education. We'll be utilizing our iReady assessment as well as our levels of a 3 or a 4 on our MCAP, which is our state assessment. For our safety goals, we're going to continue to utilize the school improvement process, and our goal is to have a fewer than 15% of our students being chronically absent, and our risk ratio is going to be lower than the 3.0 for all subgroups and lower than 2.0 for students with disabilities. And our final piece that we're adding into our goals that we want to share with you is around gifted and talented. Of formally identified GT students, 23% of them are minority students. We're going to continue to increase that by 2% every year until the percentage of minority students and gifted and talented actually has a more reflective use or reflective overall look of our overall student population, which is right around 36% students of minority. Our gifted and talented teachers are going to be given professional development and training time, specifically to kind of revitalize our middle school curriculum to meet that need. Also, Worcester County Public Schools are going to continue to look at our enrollment for our STAT Summer Academy program, which I'll tell you is second to none if you've ever get a chance to walk around and look at it. And our goal is to continue to include the implementation of enriching internships throughout that process as well. So you guys have any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Dr. Cook? No?
Thank you both for all the work that you're putting into this, because I know it is monumental, but it has to be done. I just want to thank you again for the time that you've given.
And Dr. Cook and Dr. Hamill, I know that you mentioned in your presentation the STAT camp. That is funded by our Worcester County Commissioners, and so if you get the opportunity to thank them, I know several board members have had the opportunity to visit the STAT camp over the summer. If you haven't, it is very worthwhile, and it focuses on our skilled trades as well as other areas in technology. So I know you could see on there you had agriculture and tourism, as well as some other advanced technology that we did. So that does continue to be funded by them. And certainly if you see them, thank them. And thank you, gentlemen, for making that a focus goal for our plan. I think that's an important component, so thank you.
Dr. Ennis?
I think they never give me a mic. I always have to borrow a mic. I don't know why I never get a mic. I just want to make sure our community understands what ESSA stands for, which is Every Student Succeeds Act, which is the reauthorization of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, which started back in 1965. I'm looking in the audience, and some of us remember 1965. And we know that every 5 to 7 years, somewhere around there, Congress reauthorizes Elementary and Secondary Education Act, and they give it a different name. So as an example, there was No Child Left Behind, and now it's the Every Student Succeeds Act. However, every time the federal government does something like this, there are additional requirements or changing requirements and so forth and so on. So in this particular case, the Maryland State Department of Education was required to submit an ESSA plan for the state of Maryland, and all 24 jurisdictions, as you saw today, have to submit a consolidated plan to, in our case, regulatory agency, which is the Maryland State Department of Education, or MSDE, for approval. And I was overwhelmed and pleased to hear that it seems to me, and I just want to clarify this, that we will not have to do an ESSA consolidated plan and a blueprint plan, but apparently, my understanding correct, they're going to put them together, so we only have to do one plan.
That is correct.
That is the thought, yes.
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 I don't count on anything, but yes.
Yes.
Well, I'm hoping that happens.
Yes.
Small school systems like us, we don't have the staff time to put together two separate plans, one for blueprint and one for Every Student Succeeds Act consolidated plan. So I hope that Maryland State Department of Education, the State Board of Education, moves forward to consolidate the blueprint and the ESSA consolidated plan into one plan. So we only have to, in essence, do one plan that meets the needs of our students. So I thank you for your presentation today, and let's keep hoping that MSDE makes that determination, that decision. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And Dr. Ennis, just to follow up, that is the plan, but since it was in federal law and the blueprint is not due till March 15th, and by law this was due in December, they tried to circumvent it, but it just couldn't happen this year. So next year, the plan will be by pillars, as we've talked about earlier, and the data points are right in our blueprint. So for Pillar 1, which is the pillar I do, early childhood, it'll be around KRA scores and projections for pre-K enrollment and projections around whether daycare providers can house more students in the community. So it'll look very different than what our school improvement plans look like right now. So we're going to have to look at those nuances. But yes, so it'll be very different. If we can count on that. Yes.
Dr. Cook and Dr. Hamill, thank you for putting this plan together. It's important to the success of all of our students. We do appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And Mr. Ferrante, this concludes curriculum instruction. Back to you.
Thank you, Ms. Schwartz. Appreciate that. And whereas we move on to our personnel exhibits, I have Dr. App.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrante. For your consideration, I have your personnel exhibit for the month of January. Retirements this year, we have Sandra Foreman, Custodian 1, BIS. Resignations, Michelle Leo, Educational Assistant, Snow Hill Middle School. Samantha Shockley, Educational Assistant, Cedar Chapel Special School. New hires, Callie Grant, Behavior Technician, Pocomoke Elementary School. Timothy Height, Educational Assistant, Snow Hill High School. Stephanie Howard, Educational Assistant, Pocomoke Elementary School. Alexis Maddie, Teacher Special Ed, Cedar Chapel Special School. Michelle Raffo, Educational Assistant, Ocean City Elementary School. And a leave of absence, Sean Siebert, Educational Assistant, Berlin Intermediate School. Superintendent recommends your approval of the personnel exhibit as presented.
Thank you, Dr. App. Can we have a motion and a second to approve the personnel exhibit as presented? A motion by Mr. Buchanan.
Second, Bill Gordy.
I have a second by Bill Gordy. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Let the record show the vote was unanimous. Okay,
Mr.
moving-
Ferrante, for the
Yes.
second piece of the administrative operations, we have a purchase of a new bus, and Ms. Heiser will be presenting that to you.
Welcome, Ms. Heiser.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome back to our new board members, and congratulations to
Thank you
our
very
president,
much.
vice president, and to our new member status. Before you today, I have an exhibit for a purchase of a new school bus. Allison Harmon, who operates as Harmon Custom Builders, is currently operating a 13-year-old school bus, and she is requesting to purchase a new bus for the next school year, the 23-24 school year. The superintendent is recommending approval of the exhibit as presented.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Heiser? Seeing none, can I have a motion to approve the bus contract and a second as presented?
Motion.
Motion by Donald Smack. I have a second? Second. A second by Mr. Buchanan. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Let the record show the vote was unanimous. Thank you very much, Ms. Heiser.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm
Now
going to
we-
give a brief safety update.
Yes.
As promised at the last board meeting, so just to keep everyone up to date, I had a meeting with Lieutenant Troutman, who is the head of our school division, just to keep ourselves on the same page as far as some things that are coming up on the horizon and current safety events that are happening in other schools. We plan to hold our first district-wide safety meeting, which is a part of an agreement that we have, and Ms. Beth Shockley Lynch will be one of the people, so she may have already gotten her call from Mr. Goddard to serve on that, as well as a few other members of the association. But that will be hopefully held before the next board meeting, so I will give you an update at the next board meeting on our first district-wide safety meeting. I believe the last time the committee met was after the situation in Connecticut, I believe it was, many years ago, the school shooting there at the elementary school. The first item on our safety agenda when we have our meeting is going to be doing some research as a group on a weapons detection system. From the sheriff's office, we have Mr. Nate Passwater, who is going to be a part of that safety committee, as well as Lieutenant Troutman. And we are also working on a rubric with the help of Maryland Center for School Safety to evaluate our safety plans based on a specific rubric. And so that rubric should be developed hopefully by the next meeting, and then we'll have a report on where we are at according to that rubric. So that concludes administrative operations. Back to you, Mr. Ferrante.
Thank you, Dr. Wallace. Appreciate that. Mr. Tolbert couldn't be with us, so I'm going to turn it over to Dr. App for physical operations.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrante. Today we're going to have Mr. Joe Price come and talk about the Stephen Decatur Middle School addition update, and then after that he'll go right in to the Buckingham Elementary School feasibility study. Mr. Price.
Mr. Price.
Thank you, Dr. F. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Lindsay has Stephen Decatur Middle Update number 14 for you, and we have a requisition for your consideration. Lindsay?
Good afternoon. So for Stephen Decatur, we hit our milestone just in time for the school to start up. So the teachers moved in, the students moved in, and I have to say the teachers' rooms look outstanding. So I think it looks pretty good how they set them up. But in the last 30 days, the stormwater was completed. All the finishes were done. And like I said, we were able to get those teachers into those rooms. So the current operations right now, we're working on the architect and the design team's punch lists, getting all those miscellaneous items wrapped up. The courtyard, in between the two vestibules, we got the plantings in yesterday, so we'll be working on the artificial turf and the lighting in that area. And then we're waiting for grass to grow around the building. So. In the next 30 days, we do have our CCTV and our intercom replacement starting. So we'll be moving forward, and as the devices come, we'll be getting those installed and have that complete in the school. And then we have a couple of photo updates. This first one is the portable classrooms, and this is when the demolition started. And we started taking down those trailers.
Thank you.
No problem. Site grading following the portables. So we had everything graded and seated before the students came back. The next photo is one of the new classrooms in the addition. And then the following photo is a new science classroom. The tables and the casework in that. The next photo is another view of the classrooms. And then another science classroom. Then this is the new conference room in the center of the addition. Then we have the vestibule connecting the addition to the existing building. And then the new addition corridor. And then the east side corridor. So this next slide shows a photo of that area from November of 2021 and then December of 2022. Same spot.
So let me just tell you that it looks terrific. And nobody could be happier up on this board than my fellow board member, Dr. Andes. Dr. Andes, was there anything you'd like to say?
No, I'd just like to commend the entire team to finish that project in 11 months is incredible. Originally, it took us 12 months to build the school originally in 1996. So putting the addition on there in 11 months, you beat my record for the entire school, so congratulations. But I'm overwhelmed, pleased, happy, joyous. This is as happy as I get. So thank you so much for getting it done, for making it happen. And the day that I got, I don't know, somebody sent me a photo or a text message of the portables being removed, I did a happy dance.
Yes.
So thank you so much to the entire team, Becker Morgan for the design and getting it all done, Lindsay and the entire team for Wedding Turner, getting the work done. And obviously, nothing happens in school construction in our school system without Mr. Price. We are so very fortunate to have Mr. Price as a member of our team. He is probably, no, he is the best hire that I ever did. So, Mr. Price, I thank you for your work diligently. You told me you'd get it done by December 22nd, and you did. Thank you very much.
Mr. Price, thank you. We know that you like to get things done on time, and I know that you were behind it as well, so we appreciate all the hard work.
On budget.
Yeah, and on budget, that's important.
I want the board to know that Joe doesn't like to tell me something unless it's really bad. And he didn't, and I've told Lindsay this, I don't think I heard from him the entire project, which is a great sign. But we were just about ready to move in over the holidays, and we had a leak in the new building. I can't remember if it's a Saturday or Sunday, but it was over the holidays. And I called Joe right away and said, Joe, do you want me to go that way? And Joe says, I got it, and was out there and cleaned up that situation in no time. And I know Whiting Turner responded as well. And so it's been a great project from the standpoint of not falling on the executive leadership team of our county. And he was able to get that done. And we are just so pleased, and I share the excitement with Dr. Andes, although I like to remind Dr. Andes of what superintendent got it done. But I won't do that today. But we got it done. It's something that when I was the principal of Steve Decatur High School, I discussed with Dr. Andes back then that needed to be done over there. And it's just great. I joined Dr. Andes in thanking both of you and joined the board in thanking both of you for your leadership to make this project a reality. And again, our kids are the one who are going to benefit from this now. And those portables came when we renovated Steve Decatur High School in 2000. And we barely rolled them over there then. There was no way they could be moved. No way those portables can be moved. And we have patched them. We all wanted to be there when they tore them down to see what ran out from underneath of them. But great work, great teamwork, great process. And again, Lindsay and Joe, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to share one story since Becker Morgan is here. One of the things we pushed Becker Morgan on back in the design phase was, don't make this look like an addition. Make it look like it was built in 1997. And Ms. Barton shared a story with me right after Christmas break. The local news station came to do a story about the addition. And Lynn was walking the person around, and they stopped and said, are we still in the addition, or are we in the existing part of the building? And that was perfect. That was perfect. The outside and the inside. It's obviously new, but it looks like it was built in 1997.
That makes Dr. Andes feel great. Dr.
Superintendent recommends approval of requisition number 14.
Can I have a motion and a second to approve the Steve Decatur Middle Addition Construction Requisition? Motion by Dr. Andes. Do I have a second?
Second, Bill Board.
Second by Bill Gordy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Mr. Price.
you.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you.
Lindsay.
Dr. Rapp, back to you for the Buckingham Elementary School.
All right, I'll throw it right back to Mr. Price.
Thank you. I want to introduce our team from Becker Morgan. We just completed the feasibility study for Buckingham Elementary School. Mr. Brad Hastings, principal. On the far side, Emily Purdom, our project manager. And in the middle, our project architect and Stephen Decatur High School graduate, Allison Shockley. Brad?
Good afternoon. It's great to be here, finishing one great project and hopefully seeing the start of another here soon. So our team is glad to be here today to present to you the feasibility study, and they've been working diligently over the past several months, working with staff and everyone there to put this together. So without further ado, we'll get into it here. And you can see the agenda here. We've already got the introductions, and we'll go through some background and how the process was put together. We developed a couple of options per IAC requirements, and then talk about the cost estimates and what our recommendations are, and then the overall schedule. So with that, I will turn it over to.
So just a little background about Buckingham. It was originally built in 1978 as a 49,000 square foot school. There's been no major additions or renovations done to it since '78. There have been 5 portables that have been added for 4th grade since the school is too small, and it is on a 15-acre site. This year, it had, as of September of '22, the enrollment was 515 students, which is 125% of your local rated capacity, and almost 94% of the state rated capacity. That enrollment number also exceeded the projections for this year, so obviously enrollment's going up. Your 2031 projected enrollment, which is what we were designing against for the feasibility study, is 550 students. And it is a Title I school, which means that there is additional instruction for reading and math, as well as additional staffing for those needs as well. So we've got on the screen a site plan for you guys. Just to point out that the bus loop, well, it was the bus loop, it's now the car loop because all the traffic was backing up onto Main Street. So we've had to swap the bus and the car loop this year, and I think that's working better on Main Street, but still is creating a lot of traffic. The floor plan, you can see it's kind of hard to see on the screen, but there's really not a lot of walls that are dividing your classrooms. It's kind of more of the pod layout, which now means that there's 4 classrooms in one pod, and then in the center of that is where you have your English language learners or your special ed students being taught. In the middle of, again, 4 classrooms with no walls. There's also no bathrooms. You can see the portables in the back. There's no bathrooms back there. And there's only 2 areas for staff bathrooms, and both of them are kind of on the far left of the screen, so if you work on the other side, you kind of got to run to get there on time.
Can I just say one thing? Our special ed students, just to clarify, are getting additional services there, and our EL students are not being taught in those areas. So I just didn't want anyone of the board members thinking we had them in an area. That's just for additional services.
Thank you, Dr. Wallace. Just to recap on the process, the past few months, we started in July with a kickoff meeting with Dr. Welch and as well as Joe Price. And in August, Becker Morgan Group, as well as our consulting engineers, structural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and fire protection, did a detailed and thorough analysis of the existing school. From there, we developed a report, and that led into the start of the school year, where we met with every single staff member and teacher at Buckingham Elementary to discuss their space needs for a future learning environment. In November and December, our team at Becker Morgan took that information and compiled a detailed feasibility report that you see here in front of us. This will get submitted to the state for review as part of our next steps. And we're here today, January, to present this to you. You've received an executive summary, but we'll go through additional detail in this presentation. So when we met with the staff, we felt it was important to understand how they're using their existing spaces, what they have, what they need, what adjacencies are important for collaboration with other students and teachers and programs. We also wanted to understand what their ideal future learning environment would be, what technology is needed in a future school, other collaboration spaces, as well as how diversity and equity impacts their role as an instructor or staff member. This was our key to understanding everyone that is involved in the school culture, and for us to understand how to design and propose solutions to meet their needs. You'll see that there's a large, extensive list of existing conditions and things within the report that we noted were deficient in the existing school. We'll scroll through just a few images here to talk about those classrooms, the open pods that are undersized. You see here an image on the left, which is, within each pod, there's only 2 single-user student toilets, which is not enough for the needs. There was consistently across the board acoustic, instructional, and security concerns about the current configuration of their classroom pods. On the next slide, you'll see, like we talked about, there's an overall lack of offices and meeting spaces and storage within the building. So the center core in the learning pods has been, customized to meet the needs of the additional staff and office spaces. Here on the right side, you'll see there's not a traditional secure vestibule entrance that we're seeing in many schools these days. On the left, that is an image of the existing kitchen. There's only one serving line and really not enough equipment to support the number of students that they're serving lunches to. The existing cafeteria is also undersized. They are not able to host large gatherings for their school or the community. And in general, the overall kind of age of the roof and building systems has outlived its expectancy. As far as the site goes, there's many non-compliant ADA issues with different site routes, entrances, restrooms, and doors and playgrounds. And then inadequate site lighting and security throughout the site.
So keeping all those deficiencies in mind, we've designed two different options to present as part of the feasibility study. The first option is a renovation addition. This is the site plan. You can see that the bus loop kind of remains the same off of Main Street and the parking remains the same off of Buckingham Road. But the parking has been extended so that now there are enough parking spots for staff and visitors. There's an addition off the back and the side, and there are portables in this picture, but I just want to point that they are only there for construction purposes and they will be removed when it's done. The floor plan, you can see there's a new addition on the back, which is 2 stories, which will be for 1st through 4th graders. And on the side, the addition is for pre-K and kindergarten. This kind of keeps everybody, again, in their own little clusters, and then all of the shared services remain in the existing footprint. There are some inefficiencies with this layout that you would have to move your occupants a couple times during construction. It's a phased occupied construction, which brings up some safety issues, not that it can't be done, but it just gets a little more complicated. And it does have a longer construction timeline. But some benefits are that pre-K and K are in their own separate wing. 1st grade through 4th are in their own separate wing. And the entryway has been relocated to be kind of central. So if you're a car rider or a bus rider, you can get off and kind of walk through one central road to get there. The next option that we looked at was a replacement school. This would be that your existing school would remain operational while the new school is being built. This does change your vehicle traffic a little bit. Your buses remain off of Main Street, but your cars would come off of West, which is on the back of the school currently. We think this would help alleviate a lot of the traffic off of Main Street there, and it allows for a lot longer stacking space than what you have. So the floor plan keeps all the classes clustered in their own wing, and they're grouped by corridor. The 2-story portion is at the front of the school and not near the residential houses in the back, so we think that that's a good benefit there.
We did have extensive discussions with the staff and teachers during our meetings about a 2-story school, and everyone felt very comfortable that with keeping or moving the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade up to the 2nd floor was preferred over having to find another site to build a new school. So I wanted to make sure everyone was aware of that. I think we heard throughout just how important the school is to the community of Berlin, and being able to keep the school within its current site was critical to this project.
Just so the board knows, Mr. Price and I met with Berlin town officials, including the mayor, roughly a year ago at the town hall, and they called the meeting asked me to bring, if I could come to a meeting with them, and I did, and I obviously took Mr. Price with me. I knew it was pertaining to Buckingham, and the purpose of the meeting was to reiterate to us how important it was that Buckingham Elementary School stay in their town where it is today. So very good meeting, very informative meeting. Joe filled them in on some of the challenges we had. They asked a number of questions, and but I thought it was important that the board know, as just was said, how Berlin wanted us to stay on that location if at all possible.
The next few slides will begin to introduce the cost estimates. We worked with our partners at Whiting Turner to review the different options, not only to look at safety and constructability and phasing between the replacement school or renovation option, but also to understand the total overall project costs. For option A on the left, the renovation addition option, you'll see there's a series of line items. For new construction, it would be a proposed 76,000 square foot addition and cost to renovate the existing 49,000 square foot school. There's also site development costs, lead silver costs, and contingency built in to the construction costs for option A. That totals just over $60 million. For option B, a replacement school on site, the new construction square footage, and this came from, again, validating the program and space requirements in comparison with with other elementary schools, as well as what specifically Buckingham needed for their school. And also working with Dr. Welch and Joe Price. So 102,000 square feet for the new construction. There is demolition costs associated with removing the existing building in its entirety. And the same site development, lead silver, and contingency costs. So, and option B actually has a lower total construction cost of just over $53 million. So expanding upon that, the top line in this next slide is the same construction costs that we just discussed. And now we're going to layer on a few more items that give you a total project cost. For the option A, there is costs associated with the phasing of construction to stop and start different contractors, as well as the extended duration of an occupied school renovation. You also have costs to relocate the existing portables. There's miscellaneous costs for asbestos, testing, advertisement, and things of that nature. And then movable equipment costs, technology, playground equipment, fees for the construction manager and architects. For option B, there's some of these remain the same, but there's some notable differences. For example, the phasing of construction is much less, and there's no cost for relocating portables. The total project cost, or the subtotal, which is in the lighter orange for option A, totals $68,596,881. The total current project cost for the replacement school is $60,742,861 cents. So knowing that our timeline is to start construction in 2026, we worked with our construction management team. They have a great pulse on the cost of escalation. So you'll see that's the total project cost with escalation and that factor built in. We are subtracting the state allowance, which is the same for either option, to get your total funding, potential local funding requests.
So our recommendation will be, when we're submitting the feasibility study, to recommend option B, the replacement school. It most efficiently meets your square footage, and it has no interior windowless instruction spaces, which is key. It also is the most efficient design and construction path. It's the shortest construction time, And it also, speaking to the neighborhood of Berlin, kind of creates a nice walkway that connects both neighborhoods so that there are a lot of walkers and bikers that come to school here. So they can come from either side, and there's a safe path for them to cross without having to cross over car or bus traffic. So with all of those in mind, that's going to be our recommendation. And then we've provided just a brief schedule of the process from here. So we're here for the feasibility study. We're going to start the educational specifications and conceptual planning in March. We're going to wrap those up in September of this year. We then go through schematic design, design development, and construction documents, with all those needing reviews by IAC and MSDE. We will do the funding request. We'll get to the bid phase. And then the Board of Ed County Commissioner bid approval will happen in the summer of 2026, with hopeful of construction to start later that year. And before we wrap up and we get to questions, we just want to thank Dr. Welsh, because we interrupted her daily activities for months to interview her staff continuously. So thank you for your time.
Question.
Yes.
This is probably for Mr. Price. I know there was a lot of conversation about the portables at Decatur Middle. How long have the portables been at Buckingham? I'm just curious. You may not know off the top of your head. The same? That's what I thought. Okay.
About 23 years.
Brad or Joe or any of you, Mr. Ferrante and I were just having a sidebar while you were looking at the plan. If you go to option B, if you can put option B up for me for just a minute, because I know I would call you on this, and I'll let Todd ask the question he asked me that I was.
So, you know, I was just looking at it. Obviously, I think option B is a better choice. The only thing is
Overall,
you need the loop parking for drop-off. We understand that. That's important to the parents to be able to drop off the kids when they're coming to class. But there seems to be a lot of land devoted in the back to those two pathways. And I know most people are going to use Buckingham Road anyway. They're going to come in Buckingham Road regardless. If we put that on West Street, they're going to come in through Buckingham, make the right, and then go into that loop so they can drop the kids off. I was just wondering if, Mr. Price, I know you're going to address it. Go ahead.
All great points, Mr. Ferrante, but we're getting into conceptual planning here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just making a suggestion.
This was just a one-time thing. I think Mr. Gordy and I think Mr. Taylor were involved in conceptual planning for Showell. And if you remember the first plan for Showell, it was the Big E. Remember the Big E, the floor plan? That we just started with something to get conversation going, and that's kind of what this is.
That's fine. Yeah, just a pure question. Looking forward.
And with this layout here, you could probably do some control. So off of Buckingham, maybe during the morning hours, this entry is controlled and closed off, so you kind of force cars and drop-offs to go that way. Yeah. Really, we're looking at this giving additional stacking space for drop-offs.
People are still going to come out West Street anyway. I mean, they're still going to come out Buckingham. Even if they go through West, they're going to come out Buckingham. So, because it's just a quicker way to get there.
Absolutely. We'll get into that and also work with traffic impact studies as we get into the concept phase.
I was purely looking at it from a recreation standpoint. There's a lot of land there, a lot of opportunity for recreation for the young children. So I thought that we might be able to utilize that land a little bit better. That's all. Do we have any other questions, board members?
Yeah, I just, this is kind of looking backwards, but Mr. Price, we just tore Shell Elementary down, and we're talking about tearing this one down. And as I look at these pictures, it's a really nice looking school inside. It's clean, well kept. You're to be commended. The maintenance department is to be commended for the condition of our schools. We're talking about these dinosaurs that we're getting ready to tear down, and they look great. They really look great. It almost hurts your heart, you know.
Great point, Mr. Gordy. Every state inspector who comes down here and we say, we're about to do something with Showell or we're about to do something with Buckingham, they walk around the school and go, why?
Yeah.
And
if we could move that rascal, we could sell it for a good price.
Yep.
Well, it's definitely much needed. We know that there's a lot of pods out there, and they've seen better days. So it's time to move forward.
So thanks on the maintenance. That's a great job on that.
Any other questions?
No, we thank you. Thank you for the
Okay,
update.
Superintendent recommends approval of the feasibility study and proceeding with option B, design of a replacement school for Buckingham Elementary.
Thank you, Mr. Price. Can I have a motion to approve the feasibility study of the architect's recommendation to proceed with the design and replacement for the school of Buckingham?
I have a question, sorry. Are we voting today to approve B?
There-
I'm
we're-
just a little-
We're approving today to move forward with B
Okay.
in the feasibility study.
Feasibility, okay.
Yes, that's what we're.
Yep.
Okay. Do I have a motion? Donald Smack, motion. Second, Mr. Gordy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much, gentlemen.
While Brad is leaving, I just wanted to mention the fact that Brad Hastings was the lead architect and person on site for the original building of Stephen Gator Middle School a few years ago when I first met Brad back in '96. So it was great to see you again, Brad.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the update. Thank you, Mr. Price.
Thanks, Joe.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So moving to 8.3, the monthly financial report. Mr. Tolbert could not be with us today, so we have the finance manager, Terry Searing, with us. Terry, how are you today? Welcome.
The next item is the December monthly financial report showing non-salary expenditures of $4,439,439. The superintendent recommends board approval of the financial report as submitted.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Searing. Can I have a motion and a second to approve the December 31st, 2022 monthly financial report as presented?
Motion.
Motion by Donald Smack. May I have a second? A second by Mr. Buchanan. All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
And Mrs. Addis is abstaining. Let the record show. Thank you, Ms. Searing. And now it's time I'd like to open the floor to fellow board members in the event that you have any comments you'd like to make for today's meeting. Dr. Andes?
This is not working. No, I just.
Here you go,
Story of my life, it's not working.
There's a message or something.
I know there's a message there somewhere, somehow. But I just want to make a couple of very brief comments. One is I would like to thank Miss Elena McComas for serving as our board president for, I believe, a year and a half.
Yes.
And the outstanding job that she did. I'm sorry she's not able to be with us today because of other commitments, but I wanted to thank Elena for her outstanding leadership of the Board of Education that she took over with the tragic loss of our former president. Secondly, I'd like to thank everyone who participated or came out in the music during the month of December. We had many concerts occur at the elementary, intermediate, middle, and high school level. So thank you to all the music folks, all the teachers, all the musical directors, and especially all the parents who came out and supported all of our students throughout the musical programs. I was able to attend some, not all, because I have this other side hustle at Salisbury University. So that's the end of the semester, so consequently I had final exams and everything else. Third, I want to thank the parents of the athletes. We honored many athletes today, and we know those individuals could not be on those playing fields unless they had parents and family members who supported them throughout their entire athletic career. It truly takes an entire family to help support an athlete. And finally, the fourth comment is we honored many athletes today in terms of their accomplishments and their success. But I also wanted to recognize and honor the people who sit on the bench. Having spent my entire high school career on the bench, it's a great seat. You get into all the games free of charge. But it's the people on the bench whose job is to force the starters to play better. Mm-hmm. So I know we recognized, once again, all these outstanding athletes, the Bayside champions and so forth and so on, and they need to be honored. They need to be recognized. But I also want to just give a shout out and thanks to all those players on the bench who never really get recognized, but those are the individuals who day in and day out force the starters to be better. Force the starters to be better. So the next time you go to an athletic event, certainly watch the starters on the court or the first or second subs, but also look down the line at all of the students or the athletes on the bench, and really, at some point in time, thank the players on the bench. Having spent my entire high school career on the bench, I understand what they do. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Andes. Do I have any other comments from any other board members?
Yes,
Yes, Mr. Smack.
I want to welcome our new board member.
Thank
you. And I want to congratulate you,
Thank you, Mr. Smack. Appreciate that.
both bills, to your positions.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Smack. Anyone else? Mr. Buchanan?
This doesn't work.
Here you go. You want to lose?
It just doesn't work for you, John.
It's a little bit different looking than what you had, John. Last week, I just happened to be going through Pocomoke, and I had to drop some stuff off at the high school, and I happened to walk in probably about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I sat down for a good hour and listened to Mr. Taylor and Dee give a very, very good explanation of what we may be faced with the blueprint and some of our test scores that were very, very impressive to that. And I was thinking too, I'd sat through a lot of hour-long faculty meetings, but as I looked around to the staff and everyone who was watching it, that they really, the teachers were really, really interested and concerned. And so, Mr. Taylor and Dee, you did a great job.
Thank you, Mr. Buchanan.
Did you speak that day? Did you speak that day?
Thank you,
I'd
Mr.
like to,
Buchanan.
Mr. Front, if you don't
Okay.
mind, I'd like to comment
Yep.
on Mr.
Mr. Taylor?
Buchanan. Mr. Buchanan, I appreciate that. We take some time to really vet what's important to get out to our staff. And as I said in my remarks today, I'm getting ready to do that with SIACs, which are parent groups. I've also spent some time with one or two groups in the community, one in particular in Ocean Pines. They were the first person that received that. But I can't sit here and take the credit. Yes, I presented. I asked Dee to take the elementary part. And as I said in that faculty meeting the other day, I would not be able, if I walked away and sat down, there's not one of my 4 executives that couldn't take that entire presentation and present it. It's not one of my 4 executives that did not have their hand in what they thought was important to be presented. So the information that you heard the other day was vetted, and Carrie Steers is a part of that too, because she puts the glamorous looking slides together that keeps people's attention as they look. But I learned this from Dr. Andes about getting the message out to all our schools and to our community. And although it's a very daunting task, because I do it 14 times and I do it another 10 times with SIAC and another 5 times with community, roughly, it's important that we tell our message. It's important that our community knows, our schools know exactly where we stand, what's going on. And if you remember in that message, which is important to our community to understand, I also pointed out where we needed to continue to get better. Because we can paint a picture, but I'll be the first to say we have an outstanding county. We have outstanding educators. We have outstanding numbers that are being produced, but there's always room for improvement. And we take a look at that, and we're very transparent about those improvements that need to be done. But what I do know is, from my team down, people day in and day out are rolling up their sleeves to see where we can improve. We don't rest on the good things, although we have a lot to celebrate, as I shared when you were there the other day, what we need to be celebrating. But I can tell you this school system is focused on where improvement can take place much more than where we have exceeded our expectations. And we will continue to do that. And we have a school system of leaders, teachers, all across the board. And I sit here today and I want the board to know this. Dwayne talked about negotiations and where we've got to go. You heard that today. But it wouldn't happen if we didn't have quality people like Beth Shockley Lynch on the other side, focused on the same focus that the board team is focused on what we can do best for all of us, meaning our kids. And so although there's a lot of headaches that take place and sleepless nights for the superintendent, I do know whether it be negotiations, whether it be producing test results, as our instructional leaders do, whether it be figuring out financially where we can spend the dollars best, as Mr. Tolbert does, or Dr. App taking a look at the human resource part of our system, which is huge. It takes a village, and this village is working. And I appreciate your comments today, and I don't do it enough. I don't thank people enough for the work they do. I get the pats on the back about Worcester County. I'm the face of Worcester County Public Schools. I also get the swords, and that's okay. I'm an old guy, and I can take them. But overall, we produce here in Worcester County, and it's because of the quality leadership and the quality teaching that's taking place day in and day out in Worcester County Public Schools.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Is there anyone else?
Just one more.
Just one more, Mr.
Yes,
Speck?
sir. And we can leave. Mr. Taylor, I want to thank you and the others who attended Dr. King banquet last night. I really appreciate it.
Very
That's
nice.
it.
Thank you. And I just want to end with, also, Mrs. McComas couldn't be with us today, but she did step in, and I know Dr. Annie's already mentioned this, but she stepped in at a time after a tragic loss of one of our board members, Eric Cropper, and during a very difficult time during COVID, and I applaud her for doing that without hesitation. She did a great job, and she served this board well as president, and I just want to thank her for that. Okay. So moving forward, we have an upcoming board meeting, a budget work session on February 7th, 2023 at Worcester Technical High School at 6290 Worcester Highway in Newark, Maryland. The open session will begin at 11 a.m. The board meeting information posted on the website, www.worcesterk12.org, located under board meeting, board docs. And then we have some informational announcements. Back to you, Mr. Taylor.
Yes, I have a couple to give you moving forward. On January 25th and 26th, there will be a half-a-day school for students. We will be doing our end-of-semester high school exams and ending our second marking term. Schools on January 27th will be closed for students as we will be doing a professional day. And so those dates are important to remember. On February the 7th, this is a very important day, we will be doing our board budget work session, and that will begin at 11 o'clock. Immediately following the 11 o'clock board budget work session, we will be meeting jointly with our county commissioners who will be joining us for the afternoon session to discuss the Maryland Blueprint. This meeting will be held at the Worcester Technical High School. Again, that's February 7th. On February 17th, again, it's a half-a-day school for students as we will be doing professional development. And February the 20th, schools will be closed and offices will be closed for President's Day. Going back to February the 9th, I want to share with everyone, the board in particular, we will be doing an MSDE data walk. You're all welcome to attend. It's not mandatory. You're certainly welcome. You should be receiving an invitation from MSDE. This will take place at Chesapeake College from 4 to 6. Anyone wishing to attend, please let my assistant, Dawn Peterson, know so that we can arrange transportation. I will be up there all afternoon as we have our monthly Eastern Shore Superintendent's meeting, so I will meet you up there for those who will be attending. I know most of my leadership team will be going as well. Reminder that February the 21st is our next regularly scheduled board meeting. And I'm sure Mr. Ferrante will say that at the end, but it's on my list as well. And then on February the 23rd, we're going to have a MABE, Maryland Association of Boards of Education, retreat and training. It will be from 8:30 to 12 for this board. We've not done one in a number of years, and MABE will be here working through how we do things as a board and sharing information. This meeting will be held in this room that day. Again, that's from 8:30 to 12 on February 23rd. Thank you, Mr. Ferrante.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. And yes, we will be having a Board of Education meeting on February 21st, 2023, here in the central office, and that will begin at 12:30. So, moving forward, can I have a motion and a second to adjourn the open session meeting today?
Motion.
Motion by Donald Smack. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Bill Gordy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much.